For the first time in a long time, there is significant optimism that Nebraska could once again have one of the most dominant offenses in all of college football, and that's due to a couple reasons. Raiola is likely going to take that step forward to be a top 10 quarterback in the country. This wide receiver core is the best it's been in over a decade. This offensive line is very much improved. But more than anything, the reason why Husker fans are so excited is because of our brand new offensive coordinator, our brand new signal caller, Dane Holgorsen. And while a lot of people expect him to completely make over this unit, there's a lot of concern internally that he's not going to be sticking around for too much longer, that he might be gone after 2025. So in today's video, I'm going to give you the truth around this situation. Is Dane Holgorsen actually going to leave after this season? Are the rumors true? And if that does happen, where do we go from here? So really quick, going to be a very honest video talking about the future of this coaching staff. Hit that like button if you're fired up. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Now is the time. Please hit that subscribe button for daily Husker content, recruiting updates, stuff just like this, breaking news, and so much more. Once again, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, let's just dive into it. Talking about the future of Dane Holgorsen. For the first time in a long time, this Nebraska offense looks poised to be one of the best in the country, to potentially be top 10, to potentially be top 20, at least top 30. And that's due to Dane Holgorsen. That's due to what he's done in the past with both Houston and West Virginia. He's one of the best offensive minds in all of college football. However, internally, not only within the athletic department, but within the fan base, there's a lot of concerns that Dane Holgorsen, he's only going to be here for 1 year. He might only be here for a couple months after the season, and then he might go to his next destination. So let's talk about it. We know that we hired Dane Holgorsen last year. During the year, he only coached in 4 games. And then in December, he signed a 2-year extension for 2025 and 2026. So I think a lot of people just genuinely believe he's going to stick around to the end of his contract. But what you need to know is that he can easily get out of that contract if needed. And you just go to what Dane Holgorsen said in multiple interviews, whether it's last offseason, this offseason, he said multiple times that he does not know what the future holds for him. Whether it's next year, next month, he doesn't know where he's going to be. Okay, he said that even with this new contract at Nebraska. So Dane Holgorsen, he's doubling down that he doesn't know if this is really in his long-term plans. His family hasn't moved to Lincoln yet. And there's just a lot of concerns around Dane Holgorsen if he really wants to be in Nebraska long-term. And the main question I want to ask you is, if you're Dane Holgorsen, why would you settle? Why would you settle for being an offensive coordinator in Nebraska? You know, Dane Holgorsen is only 53 years old. He is only 3 years older than Matt Rhule. We talk about him like he's some veteran, 70-year-old coach who's at the end of his career. Dane Holgorsen likely has 2 decades left in his future of coaching. Okay, he wants to be on top of a program again. And while he has a lot of power right now with Nebraska, while Matt Rhule is kind of like a marriage or kind of like co-head coaches, Dane Holgorsen isn't the head man. It's always going to be Matt Rhule. It's always going to be his ship. And Dane Holgorsen, who says he's really okay with that? Because in Dane Holgorsen's mind, he probably feels like he's a better coach than Matt Rhule. He has an ego. Every coach has an ego. So I said that all that to say this. Dane Holgorsen wants to be a head coach again. Even at a smaller program, even at a group of 5 school, I believe that Dana would take that job in favor, of being a Nebraska coach as only an offensive coordinator. So again, I think that Nebraska, honestly, is probably a stepping stone for Dane Holgorsen. It probably is going to be. He probably wants to spend 1 year here. And then the reality is there's always going to be a demand for him, because if we're expecting this Husker offense to take this jump that, we expect it to be top 10 in America, to be top 20, if we expect Raiola to be one of the better quarterbacks in the country, if we expect this offensive line to be really improved, do we expect this receiver core to be great? There's a lot of pundits naturally who are going to look at our staff and say, man, Dane Holgorsen, he's still got it. He's still a great offensive mind. And then when you hear all of this smoke, you're going to see a lot of flames behind you. You're going to see a lot of, programs who start to get interested. So say, hey, you know what? We need Dane Holgorsen. We need a veteran who can, reset the culture of our team. So I think that Dane Holgorsen, it's really kind of a no-win scenario for us. Okay, it's either our offense doesn't really take a step forward, and then Dana doesn't really have any demand, he'll probably stick around, or the more likely scenario is Dana does completely change this offense. It's one of the better in the country. He has a lot of interest once again. He's probably going to leave. So again, he's always going to be in high demand. And once again, we see this trend all the time in college football where, schools will hire an offensive coordinator. He'll completely change up the offense in 1 or 2 years, and then they'll leave. We saw it with Jeff Lebby. We saw it with Garrett Riley. So it is what it is with Dane Holgorsen. I just keep going back to the fact that I just don't think he's completely sold. I don't think he's sold with the Huskers. I don't think he really wants to be here long term. And I don't blame him. He wants to be a head coach again. That's the dream of all these guys. He's been a head coach for 2 decades. He doesn't want to stick around and be an offensive coordinator for the rest of his career. He wants to be in power. So, what would this be? What would this mean for Nebraska's long-term offense if Dane Holgorsen were to leave? Like, is this a major concern? And I think it is, because Dane Holgorsen, I truly believe, is one of the best offensive coordinators in America. You just can't replace him overnight. This would be going into the 2026 season. I think if Dane Holgorsen leaves, we pretty much have 2 options. We're either probably going to hire maybe Glenn Thomas or Da'Keil Shorts to be our next offensive coordinator. We're going to hire in-house, or we're going to try to find another veteran just like Dana Holgorsen. Probably just got fired. Matt Rhule said time and time again that he likes these older veteran coaches in his coaching staff, whether it's a guy like Phil Snow or Dana Holgorsen, because they provide more experience and more perspective. So probably going to be in that latter aspect. We're probably going to get another veteran if Dana Holgorsen were to leave, but it is concerning. You know, if you were, and I think it's a very real reality that Dana Holgorsen is probably going to leave after this year, you just can't replace him overnight. And my main thing, let's put on our imagination caps. If Dana Holgorsen were to leave in 2025, the main thing I'm concerned about is Dylan Raiola. It is not healthy for a quarterback to have 3 offensive coordinators in 3 years. It's just not healthy. We see this all the time in the NFL. It stunts development. It stunts growth. You have to learn a new playbook. You have to learn a new scheme. So while it might not change much for an offensive lineman, it might not change much for a wide receiver, it changes everything for a quarterback. And that could really stunt Dylan Raiola's career. So if I'm Matt Rhule, although Dana Holgorsen might be looking elsewhere, and he might say, hey man, Matt, I want to be a head coach again, Matt Rhule's got to do whatever it takes to keep him here for at least those 2 years, for at least 2025 and 2026. After 2026, he can leave. Once Dylan's out of here, he can leave. But if you were to leave going into Dylan Raiola's 3rd year, that can completely stunt his development once again. That's not good for a quarterback. So if I'm Matt Rhule, I truly am concerned about this long term. There's a reason why Matt Rhule's done whatever it takes to keep Dana Holgorsen in Lincoln. He's gave him a lot of power the offense coordinators usually don't have, for better or worse. I'm not a fan of the amount of power that Dana has. Like, he has a lot of power. He really does. He doesn't recruit at all for Nebraska. He doesn't like recruiting, which you see from veteran coaches all the time. So anyways, Dana has a lot of power, which isn't necessarily healthy, but that's how much Matt Rhule prioritizes him staying here. I think you got to keep him. But in my opinion, this is kind of quickly becoming like a Tony White situation all over again, where, going into last offseason, we know that Tony White was probably on the way out, pretty much no matter what. It's kind of similar here, where it's either offense takes a huge step forward, it takes a dramatic step forward, and then Dana Holgorsen gets hired as a head coach, or I could very well see our offense really not take a step forward, and maybe Dana Holgorsen leaves to become an offensive coordinator elsewhere. Or once again, our offense might not even take a step forward, and he still might get a head coaching spot at a smaller school. So I just think more than anything, you have to be ready if this happens. Don't be shocked if Dana Holgorsen leaves after 2025. It's a very real possibility. It's a very real possibility that doesn't stick around for his entire contract. There's a lot of loopholes to get around it if needed. But if I'm Matt Rhule, the main thing that I care about is the development of Dylan Raiola and the development of some of these young quarterbacks, whether it's a Marcus Davila, TJ Lateef. It's unhealthy for the entire room if we have a new offensive coordinator once again. But if this does happen, I need Nebraska to go ahead and get another veteran just like him. So all I'm saying, just be prepared. We got to enjoy Dana Holgorsen for this 1 year. If he does leave, be ready. If he doesn't, very, very good for the Huskers, but it seems kind of like a Tony White situation once again. So I just want to prepare you, because I told you guys last offseason, don't be shocked when Tony White leaves. It happened. Doing it once again with Dana Holgorsen, because there's a lot of concern internally that he will. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I want to hear your thoughts just about everything. Let me know in the comment section. Hey, if you made this far, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go Big Red, go Matt Rhule, and I'll see you in the next one.